Warm greetings from the high 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans. Happy Thursday to the viewing audience. This information is pertaining to the murder of Quinton Simon. I will bring you said information from WJCL News. Thank you for joining me.
A Chatham County grand jury indicted Leilani Simon with 19 counts in the disappearance and death of her son, Quinton Simon.
The 21-year-old went missing 70 days ago. This happened in October. And our Andy Cole takes us through the evidence prosecutors say points to his mother as the accused killer.
On Wednesday, Chatham County's District Attorney, Shalina Cook-Jones, announced a grand jury indicted 23-year-old Leilani Simon on 19 different counts for the death of her toddler son, Quinton Simon.
These are the cases that keep us up at night. These are the cases that deserve justice.
The 8-page indictment says that on October 5th, the day Quinton was reported missing, Leilani Simon intentionally beat little Quinton with an object, ultimately killing him. From the beginning of the investigation, the indictment says Leilani lied to investigators time and time again. Leilani first lied when she implied to investigators that Quinton had been abducted. Leilani later lied and said she went to a Chatham County trailer park early on October 5th to meet a friend. In the indictment, Leilani did admit to dumping something at the trailer park, but she lied and said she was throwing away household garbage. According to the indictment, she actually threw Quinton's body into one of these dumpsters, just like trash. Court documents say Leilani told investigators she doesn't remember that. 23-year-old Simon tried to blame her then-boyfriend, Daniel Youngkin. The indictment says she lied, saying Daniel left their Buckhalter Road home that October morning. Just a day before Quinton was allegedly killed, the indictment says Leilani met with her drug dealer. She told investigators she was paying off a drug debt.
Let me go back.
His body into one of these dumpsters, just like trash. Court documents say Leilani told investigators she doesn't remember that. 23-year-old Simon tried to blame her then-boyfriend, Daniel Youngkin. The indictment says she lied, saying Daniel left their Buckhalter Road home that October morning. Just a day before Quinton was allegedly killed, the indictment says Leilani met with her drug dealer. She told investigators she was paying off a drug debt, but that too was a lie. According to the indictment, she later lied about being high on an unidentified drug on October 4th, just hours before Quinton's death. District Attorney Cook-Jones is confident in the charges because of the tireless work of local and federal investigators.
These men and women work very long hours, turning shifts for 6 weeks straight, working tirelessly and would not quit until Quinton's body was found. Were it not for their tireless efforts, we would not have been able to take the first step on the long road to justice as we have today.
In Chatham County, I'm Andy Cole, WJCL 22 News.
Prosecutors also declined to say why Leilani's mother, Billie Jo Howell, is also behind bars. She's charged with contempt of court. Officials have not given a detailed reason for her arrest.
Thank you so much for joining me. That said, content is by WJCL News. Going to read you something off of Twitter from Brett Buffington's Twitter account. Feel free to follow him on Twitter. Thank you for joining me. As most of you know, she's been indicted on a 19-count indictment, including 1 count of malice murder for the intentional killing of Quinton Simon and 2 counts of felony murder. Second count, first malice murder. Number 2, felony murder. Number 3, felony murder. Number 4, concealing the death of another. Number 5, false report of a crime. October 5th, 2022. Count 6, making a false statement. Number 7, making a false statement. Number 8, making a false statement. Number 9, making a false statement. Number 10, making a false statement. Number 11, making a false statement. Number 12, making a false statement. Number 13, making a false statement. 14, making a false statement. 15, falsehoods on October 12th, 2022. Count 16, making a false statement. 17, making a false statement. And number 18, making a false statement. Count 19, falsehood on November 21st, 2022, making a false statement. These are the said charges against Leilani Simon. You see, in order to get to the truth, you have to pay attention to the details. And the details have now been revealed in a 18 count, 19 count indictment. You heard more information in this news broadcast that Leilani Simon said that Danny Youngkin left the house that early morning. She also claims that she met with a drug dealer at this said location, whichsoever it is, because she owed a drug debt, which they believe is a lie. She also told detectives that she was high, which they believe is a lie. And she dumped household items into this dumpster located near the trailer park Xelia Plaza, which is a lie. What she dumped inside of that dumpster was Quinton Simon. The charge indictment says she beat the child with an object. The only way you would know that she beat the child is if she told somebody, or she put it in a text message, or there were cameras in the house to see that she beat the child. So how would detectives know that she beat a child with an object? So you use deduction. She's never going to admit that she killed her child. She doesn't have memory, so she says. So that means a second party knows of her beating the child. And perhaps that is Danny Youngkin and Billie Joe Howe. Take your pick of which one knows that she beat her kid. And perhaps that is why Danny Youngkin is nowhere visible, because he knows that she beat the child. And perhaps he was there when she beat the child. But he's guilty because he did not call 911 to try to save the child, whether the child died at the scene or would have died at the hospital bingo card. I've always told you, he knew that baby was dead, and he never saw the child in the pack and play. What is understood does not need explanation. What is understood needs no explanation. Did she tell her mother, Billie Joe Howe, that she killed her kid? Because I believe one or both told detectives she beat the baby to death. Checkmate. Because there's no way detectives would know she beat the baby, because the baby wasn't seen to be verified as living, dead, beat, drowned, anything. Somebody told it. Who told it? Did she tell her mother she beat the baby before Billie Joe touched down on Georgia soil? Or when she got back, she told it and Billie Joe played the role? Number two, she told the baby daddy had to have known because he was there and witnessed the beating. So why is he missing in action? I'll wait. I'll wait. Who all knew she beat the baby? At what time was the baby beaten to death and disposed at the Xelia Plaza Park? She couldn't have confessed because she's pled not guilty. Stay woke. You all aren't paying attention to the details. Leilani Simon is pleading not guilty. So you can't plead not guilty and confess. They don't go hand in hand. Stay woke. Exactly. You didn't report the death of a baby. Danny Youngkin. So which one told the truth about the death of Quinton Simon? Because all you have are the people in the house, Leilani Simon, Danny Youngkin, the brother Paul, and the mother Billy Joel, or any other outsider. So did she call or text somebody else to say she killed her kid? She has pled not guilty to the charges, so Leilani has not confessed to murder. If she did, they would have told you that already. Will Danny Youngkin also be arrested for complicity to murder? He's guilty either way because you allowed her to report a child missing when you knew he was dead. You knew he was never in the pack and play because my sources tell me he died between the morning of 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. October 5th. Once again, Leilani Simon has pled not guilty. You can't plead not guilty and confess. It doesn't work that way. Once again, nobody's listening to the information. Somebody has talked pertaining to the death because how would the district attorney know the baby was beat to death with an object? Because somebody told it. There's no way you're going to tell me you found that out with bones. Because you don't even know what the partial remains are that were found in the landfill. Stay woke. They probably already knew. They've been known for weeks what happened to Quinton Simon. And that's the gist of a story with true crime. They do not have to tell you what they know in an investigation. So don't ever assume they don't know what happened in a crime because you don't know what happened. It's not your job to know. As the district attorney politely told you, I'm not answering any questions. I'm not telling you anything. As to preserve the investigation. So when we pick a jury, we will make sure everything was fair and square. So she doesn't get off on any technicalities. Now that's Queen telling you that part. Exactly. He will probably take a plea deal and he will probably do time in prison for his role because he did not call 911. He did not stop the mother from beating the child. Stay woke. See, you always have to listen to the details because you can't explain how somebody would know she beat a baby. That means somebody talked. So take your pick. She didn't tell it because she's still denying her role. If so, she would have pled guilty. She will go to trial because she wants her 5 minutes of fame in the courtroom to bring up another version. And now you hear she has told on Danny Youngkin. Listen to the information. It's in ink. Oh, he left that morning. So once again, now you've implicated Danny Youngkin, but you didn't know that. All you heard was Bubba Moss. Now you know she's told on Danny Youngkin. But I told you weeks ago she was subtly implicating Danny Youngkin because what my source told me, that when she was first discussing the report, it was overheard her saying, oh, sometimes when I walk out, I grab his phone, Danny Youngkin's phone. So the Queen must have known something about this because now you have testimony that a child was beat. How in the world would anybody know that but the perpetrator and the victim? Did she tell her mother she hurt her baby? Or made up a story that the child got hurt, drowned, whichsoever? Either way, did Billy Joe know the baby was dead before she touched down on Savannah soil? And do we really have verification of Billy Joe Howell's whereabouts? Checkmate. Because it is awfully ironic, custody was issued October 5th, the same day that the child was reported missing. Bring it home, Queen. So, Billy Joe, you got to carry the load along with Leilani Simon, because allegedly you was the custodian or was seeking custody of the children. I don't really know what's the truth. Until I see a fucking receipt, I'm not claiming any damn thing about these monsters. But everybody's complicit to the abuse of the children, let me say that. And as her defense attorney told the judge, we have talked extensively. Well, good, because I'm sure she has spun a new web to you, and she's probably going to blame Danny Youngkin or her brother for the murder of Quinton Simon. And it won't look good in a court of law, because what they're going to say is, well, you blamed the Bubba Mouse. You blamed a stranger. You also said your child wandered off. So now who's left? That's Paul and Danny Youngkin. But the point is, they have evidence against her that she dumped her child there. So perhaps her phone was on. She had her phone. Google pointed her at this trailer park, dumping the baby. And 9 times out of 10, she told Danny Youngkin what she did. Who's to say they didn't conspire together? You don't know because you weren't there. He knows, and I've always said he had to have known, because he was in a relationship with her. He lived with her. How could he have not known? And anybody bold enough to implicate a baby daddy that lived away from the child and hadn't seen the child, she would implicate the daddy that was there. Checkmate. She's a cold, empty bitch. And she came from a cold, empty bitch. And by the grace of God, 2 children are no longer on Buckhalter Road with 2 empty bitches and a baby daddy. Never underestimate the blueprint that you leave behind when you walk out of your door. There is always somebody looking and watching. There is always somebody up looking out of a window. There is always somebody passing by a street. There is always notifications. There is always an eye in the sky. Don't ever think nobody knows what you're doing. You are seen every day. You walk outside of your house. Little do you know this. Everywhere has a camera. Everywhere has an eye in the sky. You are seen as soon as your foot touches concrete. "19 counts, it looks like. Somebody has talked pertaining to the death of Quinton Simon. Perhaps she sent text messages to her mother to tell her what happened allegedly. Probably all lies, but it shows cause. And Billy Joe possibly knew the child was dead before she returned to the state of Georgia. No matter the version given, but knowledge thereof. and did not say to law enforcement she knew that her grandchild was dead. So that is possible also why this wench is got a hold on her too. We're not letting you out because we're going to ring your ass up too. Checkmate. There's no excuse for killing a child. I do not make excuses for anybody under the influence of drugs or narcotics because once you become an adult, you stand on your own. And this charging document says she was not drunk, she was not high. She killed her baby deliberately and maliciously. End of story. Somebody told she killed the baby with something. That means there was an eyewitness in the story. That leaves nobody but Danny Youngkin or the brother Paul or Billy Joe Howe. Prayers for the little children. Prayers for any child being abused. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution, not the problem. Make the phone call because you just may save a life. Bypass calling DHS or going on a hotline or the internet to put in a file for abused kid. Call the police. No more DHS. Make DHS stand account. Call the police. Will Danny Youngkin also be charged in the murder of Quinton Simon? Will Billy Joe Howe be charged in the murder of Billy Joe Howe? Will a brother Paul be charged with any type of knowledge thereof pertaining to the death of Quinton Simon? Will there be more arrests in the death of Quinton Simon? I say yay. If you'd like to donate to this great network, Everyday Shenanigans, $Deganzi129, Cash App, all stickers and chats are welcome during my live stream. That's the end of this content for this early morning. God is good, and he's good all the time. And as we would say, old black folks, he may not come when you want him, but he's always on time. You see, prayer works. I prayed every night for justice for this baby. I told God, make a way. Make a way. And he did. And he made sure that his mother was arrested. And the grandmother too. And I said, if anybody else has knowledge that this child was murdered and discarded in a dumpster, you bring them down too. That's my commentary. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans.